Speaker and her programming of the work of the House. We will participate in every step of that process, fully, constructively, and with the discipline and dignity that this movement has always brought to work of the People's Parliament. Allow me to speak to a question that has occupied the press in the days since the judgment was delivered. The President of the African National Congress, who is also the President of the Republic, has, like every citizen of our beloved country, the right to a fair hearing and the right to seek judicial review where it is available to him. The Constitutional Court itself, at paragraph 139 of the late judgment, expressly preserved the path of review of the independent panel report. After receiving and carefully considering the Senior Counsel opinion, the National Executive Committee have recorded our unanimous support for the President's decision to lodge that review application in the High Court, accompanied by any other legal procedures as his lawyers may advise. The National Executive Committee has endorsed that approach unanimously. I want to be very clear about something on behalf of the ANC. The exercise of constitutional rights by a citizen of the Republic, including a citizen who holds the office of President, is not an evasion of accountability. It is the substance of accountability. Accountability under our Constitution is exercised through institutions and through the rights those institutions guarantee. To suggest that the President should not exercise the constitutional remedies that the court itself preserved is to suggest that the office of the President strips a person of rights that every other South African enjoys. That is not the position of our Constitution. That is not the position of the African National Congress, the movement that helped to write that Constitution. I now wish to put a matter that the public discourse has been speculating about, firmly and finally to rest. The National Executive Committee of the African National Congress, in the meeting that has just arisen, did not consider and was not asked to consider the recall of the President of the African National Congress. Resignation was not on the table. None of those matters were on the table. The National Executive Committee reaffirmed in clear and unambiguous terms that its full and continuing support for the President of the African National Congress, Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa, as the leader of this movement and in that capacity as the leader of the government of national unity. The President of the African National Congress holds his office on a mandate from the branches of the African National Congress. Those branches elected him to a 5-year term at the 55th National Conference at Nazareth in December 2022. The next conference of the ANC is in December 2027. The mandate of the President from the branches of the ANC is intact. We will not, as a movement, allow speculation in the press, however energetic, to substitute for the constitutional moments of our movement. And those constitutional moments are the conferences of the African National Congress, the deliberations of the National Working Committee, and the considered decisions of the National Executive Committee. The President of the African National Congress is also the President of the Republic of South Africa, elected by the National Assembly, under Section 86 of the Constitution following the May 2024 general election. He was elected on the platform of an African National Congress whose voters across every province and community of our country returned the movement to government, though to government in a new form, that of the Government of National Unity, that the African National Congress holds together with our 9 partners in the Statement of Intent of 30th June 2024. The President's mandate from the people of South Africa, given through the ballot, is a mandate to do the work of the state. That mandate is intact. The President will continue to do the work of the state on behalf of the people who entrusted him with that mandate. And so, members of the media and fellow South Africans, the work continues. The African National Congress on the 8th day of January 2026 declared this year the year of decisive action to fix local government and transform the economy. The work of that declaration continues uninterrupted by the events of this past Friday. The branches of the African National Congress are being rebuilt as activist branches across the length and breadth of our country. The manifesto consultations are on course. The candidate selections are in train. The 4th of November 2026, the day on which the people of South Africa will go to the polls in the local government elections, is the focus of our movement's daily work. The judgment of the Constitutional Court does not interrupt the work of the state. The judgment of the Constitutional Court does not interrupt the work of the branches. The judgment of the Constitutional Court does not interrupt the work of the Government of National Unity. The parliamentary process that the judgment has activated will run its course. The legal process that the President has the right to pursue will run its course. Both processes will be conducted with the dignity, the seriousness, and the constitutional fidelity that the people of South Africa expect of their institutions. And while those processes run their course, the work of governing and the work of building a better life for all our people will not pause for a single day. Allow me to close where I began. The example of the Honorable Chief Justice Mandi Samaya on Friday, the 8th of May 2026, is the example of South Africa at its best. In a difficult matter, our highest court spoke with measured authority. Our parliament will, in the weeks ahead, do its work in the same spirit. The President of the Republic will continue to do his work in the same spirit. The African National Congress, the oldest national liberation movement on the African continent, will continue to do its work in the same spirit. Together as a movement, as a government of national unity, as a nation, we will walk through this moment as we have walked through every moment of our young democracy, with discipline, with dignity, with humility, and with our eyes fixed on the better future our forebears taught us to imagine. Members of the media, fellow South Africans, we stand at a defining moment of our democracy. Our people are watching. History is calling. The future is waiting. The ANC will be there to meet them at the Constitutional Court, in the National Assembly, in the Government of National Unity, and at every branch in every community of this country we love. The system of governance, the state established by the ANC from 1994, is working the way it was designed to work. Our democracy, our constitutional democracy, is strong. It will remain strong under the ANC. Rights will be protected. There shall be accountability for all. No one is above the law, and no one is under the law. We are equal. What is good for one must be good for the other. The president's rights with personhood are also contained in the Constitution. The ANC wants to make it clear that we are in our renewal and regeneration, people's needs first, economic transformation first, no retreat. The last matter, the African National Congress wish to report, is about the Eastern Cape and Gauteng. The ANC is functioning well in the Eastern Cape, in Gauteng, or anywhere else. The ANC Constitution is designed to respond to human beings, to nature, and realities of life and of politics. The National Executive Committee has, in line with the Constitution of the ANC, approved the regularization of organizational business in these two provinces through the establishment of provincial task teams in the place of provincial executive committees whose terms have expired without a provincial conference having set. This is the normal course of business of our movement in such circumstances. It is exactly what the Constitution of the ANC provides for. The governments of these provinces are not affected by these organizational matters of the movement. The work of the state continues. The National Working Committee will on Monday consider the compositions of the two provincial task teams. So Gauteng provincial task team, its term has expired, and it will be reconstituted, and it was in the process of evaluation to meet the constitutional requirements like KZN that we have done there in terms of the PTT, and that will happen this Monday and will be announced to the two provinces in the due course of the week. The Eastern Cape is not disbanded. Its term lapsed. So the NEC have approved that we constitute a provincial task team. And that task team will be announced in the next coming week with the mandate fully of the National Executive Committee that the officials and the National Working Committee must finalize the composition of the two task teams. Thank you very much.
Thank you, SG, for that comprehensive statement. I now turn to you, colleagues, for some engagement. I also see colleagues who are here, there at the back. I will start from this side. I see you. Sorry, I just can't recognize you. I will start from Shazi to yourself and the gentleman at the back.
Good day, it's Nkosinathi Shazi from Phala Phala News. I just have two questions, Mr. Mbalula. Of course, the special NEC meeting happened right before President Cyril Ramaphosa announced the dismissal of Usisi Sitolashe as the Minister of Social Development. Following her firing, will this in any way affect Sitolashe in her position as the leader of the ANC Women's League, as an NEC member? And will she be affected by the step-aside rule? Second question, with regards to ANC deployees who are put in cabinet, the president has fired Usisi Sitolashe, he has fired Unobuhle Nkabane as the Minister of Higher Education, and he's also placed Usenzo Mchunu, the Minister of Police, under suspension. Should the president be lauded for taking firm action against those embroiled in corruption, or should the ANC, is this an indictment on the ANC for fielding poor leadership candidates into government positions? where they end up being fired. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I proceed to the next row.
Hello, Nellie Payton from Reuters. I'm wondering what the ANC thinks of the makeup of the impeachment committee, on which I think the party has 9 seats. Do you think that's fair? And also, do you expect that the president's legal review of the report will delay the impeachment proceedings? Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, SG. Breiten here from Netwerk 24. SG, it seems like the ANC is always in crisis mode before an election. Do you view this Phala Phala issue as a crisis for the ANC, and how do you plan on combating the Phala issue as a crisis for the ANC, and how do you plan on combating the public narrative that the ANC is currently in crisis? And then just on the Phala Phala issue, was there any division within the NEC? Or was it a unanimous support for the president, if we can call it that? And then also just SG, what was the conversation with the president like? Was it because we know that a couple of years ago there was rumors that the president wanted to resign when this Phala Phala issue first arose. So what was the conversation around this time? Was it one to convince him to stay, or did he want to stay? And then just lastly, we had an interaction with the leader of the Democratic Alliance in the week, Jordan Hill Lewis, and he made it very clear that the DA has drawn the battle lines. He mentioned that the ANC is the DA's biggest opponent in Gauteng, and the DA views Gauteng as the World Cup of the upcoming election. Just your thoughts on that. Thank you, SG.
Thank you very much. We're done with the side on the left. Then we proceed. I'll start at the back.
Good morning. My name is Zoleka Kodashe from Newsroom Africa. I have a couple of questions, SG, relating to first the special ANC NEC meeting. Now, you mentioned what the judgment of the Constitutional Court was not. Despite that, it gives effect to the composition of the impeachment committee. So there's no dispute about what the Constitutional Court judgment says, but what it does is give effect to the composition of the impeachment committee. Now, in terms of that and the engagement that was had in Cape Town, I want to know what the marching orders were that were given to ANC MPs. I'd also like to know if there was any engagement with any GNU partners. My understanding as well is that the Deputy President was not part of that engagement. Can I just get clarity on that and know whether that is correct and why he wasn't part of that engagement? And then I'd also like to know, in terms of the compilation of the report, you do mention that there was engagement with senior counsel. But I'd like to know to what end this report, what is the purpose of this report other than in that specific engagement? Because it's not the first Phala Phala report that was compiled by the ANC NEC. There was a report that was compiled prior to the elective conference, and that there was an undertaking. I remember you saying that that would be tabled at the conference, but then there was a U-turn in relation to putting that in the conference. I'd just like to know to what's the end game in relation to this particular report, and then I'm hoping that there'll be another round.
I trust that you were able to catch the questions there. You're speaking very softly. Can I proceed to the next person?
Good morning, Muluko Moloto from ENCA. I have a couple of questions. Does the ANC find nothing wrong with the president who first had an opportunity following the release of that report to take it on judicial review about 4 or 5 years back. That report to take it on judicial review about 4 or 5 years back, and he decided not to proceed. And only when he is being held accountable, he is now taking it on judicial review. And I'm asking this in the context of the fact that it was the ANC, the president himself has said that report was fundamentally flawed. Why did he not deem important either way, even after the National Assembly had voted against the adoption of the report? Why did he not say, let me proceed nonetheless and set this flawed report aside? You do say that as the ANC, there shall be accountability for all. How did you hold the president accountable following the Phala Phala scandal? So much foreign currency stashed in furniture. And lastly, the president was elected or campaigned at least on a ticket of clean governance, on a ticket of good ethics. This Phala Phala matter, and I'm not talking about not going into whether he broke the constitution, provisions of the constitution or breaker. I'm just talking about the head of state in a country that was battling not so long ago to be removed from the grey listing, and he stashes money in furniture. Does that behavior, is it compatible with the values and the ethics of the ANC?
Thank you very much, UNCA. Is there any other person at the back? No. All right, I proceed then to here. We'll start right in front. May I have the mic, please?
Shannon Merrick's CBC Africa. I want to be the devil's advocate. I'm not a lawyer, but I want to go slow with this. Please bear with me. President Ramaphosa said he's going to take the report on judicial review. By the time the top six, excluding the person Ramaphosa, had a meeting, by the time the NEC had the meeting, Ramaphosa, the individual, the ANC member, has not submitted court papers. However, the ANC overlooked all that, and then the ANC said, fine, we're going to support the individual, not the president. I'm talking about the individual member of the ANC. So is this not a strategy or a tactic to save the ANC? Because in 2027, you're going to, all intents and purposes, Ramaphosa, the person, won't be the president anymore. If anything happens after 12 months from now, he's out of office either way. Is it not a tactic or a strategy by the ANC not to have another president going down? Second part, there's a guy in Soweto, an ANC chairperson. He has an illegal tavern. He sells illegal alcohol. Now, how will the ANC deal with that branch chairperson selling illegal alcohol, illegal tavern, when it deals differently with Ramaphosa? Because they're both members of the ANC. So can you explain the logic onto that as well? Last but not least, the public protector says no one and no one should compare her work to the previous public protector. And no one in public, including the media, should compare her nose to the nose of the previous public protector as well. Are you not worried that we're moving to a dictatorship when officials of the state are telling the people, you can't criticize me, you can't say I'm incompetent, and so on? Thank you.
Going to the second row, Ferial.
Thank you. Ferial Hafuji from the Daily Maverick. Thank you for the briefing. Do you expect a tough campaign, given that your president will be facing an impeachment committee which will be live broadcast almost at the same time? And is the ANC late out of the blocks with this campaign? I've watched them many years, and it does seem that this one, its definition and clarity isn't so obvious to me so late in the day. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't see any other hand. Now going to, okay, that's an afterthought. Thank you.
Mr. Mbalula, I'm Soy Somaliti from News 24. Mine is about the Mangaung conference. You were in Kabeja recently where you committed that the ANC would host the conference in Mangaung. So the speculation that the ANC has no money for that. What has happened to that? In Mangaung.
What about it?
So it was supposed to sit, I understand, last week. So there's speculation that there is no money for that. We want to know what has happened and if it has been reported to you why the conference hasn't sat.
Thank you very much. Coming to you, SG.
Thank you for the questions. Power FM is the ANC fielding weak candidates. When a minister is redeployed, speculation is made about a whole lot of things. And it has never happened that whenever a minister is redeployed, reasons are given as to what has been considered by the president, who then decides and reports to the ANC. So we'll leave the speculative part about Sisisi, but the president have taken a decision in this particular instance to strengthen government. ANC has deployed very good ministers who qualify for the positions and who are highly qualified, by the way. You can go to each one of them. Higher education, mining, Mandash. He was a miner, highly qualified, is now enrolled for a PhD at the age of 70. But highly qualified and experienced in the mining industry. Sputla Ramokhopa, engineer, deployed to head one of the important aspects of our government, overcoming load shedding. So the list is endless in that particular cabinet. You can go through them. Stella Ndabeni, SMM is highly qualified, master's degree. You can look at all our ministers. We don't have a minister in government who does not possess academic record. You can look at other political parties, you'll get a different story in government. So in government is your choice who you deploy. I'm saying to you, ANC ministers in government, highly qualified, even deputy ministers, that the president have given responsibilities. Of course, where there are challenges, South Africans expect the president to act. And when the president is not acting, you are actually also complaining. Comment where it is necessary. If you believe that the decision that the president have taken is in the right direction, say so. Don't say he shouldn't have taken it. You have taken decisions and so on. And on Senzo Mthunu, which is a topic among others, you know that the matter had arisen in a particular context where a policeman called a press conference, made claims against a minister. And in this particular instance, the president had to apply his mind. First, among others, was to hold the minister accountable by establishing a committee, making it a point that that minister accounts. And where there is wrongdoing, the president will act. But the fact of the matter is that you don't establish a committee and take steps and then put the person aside and all of that and not hold them accountable. Senzo has been in that committee, have appeared in that committee, have been put on a special leave whilst the proceedings of the committee are actually proceeding. it is the seriousness of the matters that have been raised that informed the president's decision on the matter. So he has not said he will actually not act on those particular issues, and he have actually acted. But because of plurality of ideas and differences in society, and accepting the fact that we are involved in what is called a national debate, a country as big as ours will not see things in the same direction. So to answer your question in a nutshell, we have fielded very strong candidates. Human beings are not infallible. They commit mistakes, but when they do, even with all the qualities they have, action on the part of the person who's the CEO of South Africa, Inc., who happens to be the president, he can take any decision on those particular individuals. Because being a minister is not permanent. It is there because you are given a privilege. So you can be sent back to the party, like back to the legislature and so on, and the party will decide what happens to you. So the president, in terms of his government, he has maintained a particular way of doing things. And he acts whenever it is necessary to do so, and he doesn't give reasons why he had to act in this particular instance. I've seen people jumping and claiming victories and all of that. A president acts on the basis of information before him, factually. And then on the basis of that, the president acts in terms of his cabinet and so on. It has been like that since Mandela up until to date. Reuters, ANC 9 seats, is it fair? We believe as the National Executive Committee it is fair in a democracy, even though we know that if you apply 40% as in what the ANC got in the election will be totally different. ANC will qualify for 12 if you take in 31 seats. But we have understood that the multi-party arrangement for the impeachment, that is a different case. So we have accepted that as the African National Congress, the formula that has been implemented by the Speaker, and all parties have agreed. The review will delay impeachment. It will not, because it is exercised in terms of what is at your disposal, in terms of the matter that we are dealing with, which is the report of the Section 89 committee. And the court, again, did not rule to say, despite defining the rule, which is something new in the court decision, with due respect, which we are not in argument with, the court in this instance began to define what Parliament must do, which in our thinking, which we are not making an issue about that, we are worried about encroachment and separation of powers, that our judges have got to be alive to that, dictating to what Parliament must do. We are not making an issue of it. We are examining that particular issue, and we are still looking at this judgment in relation to the separation of powers. Because we believe that to a certain extent, where the courts sit down and design rules for Parliament, it's encroachment on the separation of powers. Of course, it's debatable in this particular instance, but we are not making an issue about it at the present moment as the African National Congress. 24. Look, we are in a constitutional democracy. In an election sometime, we're involved in this process of constitutional court. It was 5 days before we vote. There was a judgment on our former president, which was scathing, and basically saying that he has broken an oath of his office. We were basically called delinquents because we were delinquents, correctly so, because we did not follow the law. In this particular instance, the Constitutional Court did not judge the president in ways that deal with his oath of office. That is a fact. The Constitutional Court did not consider the merits of the Section 89 report. It actually dealt with the parliamentary process, essentially. Now, the people in the discourse who want to influence the events of the resignation of the president have basically delved into the merits of the case. And they are not dealing with what is before them. President Ramaphosa has not been judged by the Constitutional Court on the basis of the Section 89 report, and is not even referred to in that report. Section 139 gives us the pathway in relation to what options are at the disposal of the president, which is the review. When Gandla report came, instead of doing what Public Protector Madonsela did, we did something unconstitutional. So when you look at the judgment, you look at what are your rights and what is permissible in law so that you don't become a delinquent. We are not stopping processes of parliament. If you exercise your right in terms of review, it will obviously have an impact one way or the other on the other process. And we must not say you are stopping the process, because the view that Constitutional Court have said go and impeach the president, equally it is wrong. Because the Constitutional Court says fix the process. Ultimately, that process may lead us into what is called impeachment trial. The problem in our society, legal gurus and the media don't educate people. They run with perceptions that seek to influence the outcome of a resignation. Political parties have got a right to call for resignation, but you've got the right and obligation to inform the nation and scholars and everybody else about the correct interpretation of what is before us. Because you are going to mislead people, because people are going to say that Ramaphosa, as a president, has a Constitutional Court have ruled that he must be impeached. No, did not say that. I've never had any platform, including analysts, who some of them have got big titles, PhD, and all of that. They delve on the merits of what happened at Phala Phala. They don't deal with what is before us. And that is why the president had to step up and address the nation, because there's anxiety that, hey, here is a person, he's clinging on to the position irrespective of the fact that the Constitutional Court have ruled that he must be impeached. So, as much as we've got views, but we must not be economic when it comes to the truth in relation to the outcome. So, we deal with this outcome, like I explained, on the basis that there is a process outlined that needs to be followed, and we support that process. It has already begun in Parliament. So, it is not a crisis. It will be a crisis if Constitutional Court delved into issues that are not in its purview in relation to the prayers of the litigants. The Constitutional Court dealt with the matter that was brought by those who brought it to them and closed it at that point. And from our understanding, that's what we're dealing with. And there's nobody who has actually opposed this. I've listened to many analysts. Richard Calland, very much on point, educative on the matter. I've listened to others who are just in a hurry. Ramaphosa must go. they then distort the facts. Give the facts, and at the end of the day, maybe say, no, I believe he must go. But here's the fact in law. Don't tell society what is not truthful. It has been a week now. People have been fed one line. Resignation, resignation. The resignation matter was not before the court. It's a speculative matter that arises out of what happened in the past. Because at 4 o'clock, President called a press conference and cancelled it. They thought it will happen now. Even today, you've got to locate that resignation. What does it mean in relation to what the Constitutional Court have decided? It's not like before. Because somebody came with a report, Judge Nobo, and said there is prima facie evidence, and therefore, here's the report. The report was supposed to be taken through a process. That report, even itself, then, when the ANC took decisions, it was informed by what the rules of the National Assembly. The court have now ruled that those rules were wrong, and therefore are set aside. What informed the ANC position at that particular moment? When Gwede Mantashe, on behalf of the officials, went to brief caucus after the NEC had taken a decision, was informed by what were the rules of Parliament, and which we exercised, and we won the vote on that particular day. But everybody else then seemed to forget that particular point. So there's no review that will delay the impeachment. The two processes are intertwined, and equally, the establishment of the committee is not impeachment. There's a whole lot of processes that must be followed. That committee might advise or might come to a different conclusion, but it's then to be seen up until you get to what we call now impeachment trial. But the court did not order an impeachment trial on the president. But if it were to come, we will deal with it as it comes in every step of the legislature, including the review process in itself. Were there dissenting views? There are not dissenting views. I saw speculative articles that meeting did not last for long. You were there in Cape Town. I think Goge and Sam Keller are still not here. They are still in Cape Town trying to come back to Joburg. The NEC was unanimous. There was no dissenting view in the NEC. We're unanimous because there was nothing to dissent. Because the report we gave to the NEC was very clear. Because the report was not saying, do not follow the process. Our report, as I put it to you and brief you about, is informed by the legal standing and at the same time is informed by the Constitutional Court judgment interpretation, which is accompanied in substance by a sound legal opinion. And that's what is important. So the NEC was unanimous in terms of its decision. Almost all members spoke in the National Executive Committee of the ANC. So I can't deal with Nzegezeges and people who harbor views and talk to you. ANC will speak for itself. It doesn't speak through faceless people. And the ANC is speaking now, and without speculation. And we've put our views across in terms of what the National Executive Committee have decided. We didn't convince the president to stay or not. He applied his mind based on the law, and he briefed us. We reflected on it, and we believed it is sound. And we took it to the NEC. We agreed with the president. And even before he went to make a public pronouncement, he briefed us as the top 7 of the ANC. And all of us unanimous agreed with the president as the top 7 of the African National Congress. I'm addressing that because I see you want to address why Mashatile was not in the meeting. So it means there is a problem. There's no problem. We were 7 of us together, except Gwen, 6, because she was in China as the treasurer. We engaged, we agreed, we went to the NEC agreed. So, leader of DA, if I'm going every time we convene a press conference, comment on George Hill, I will finish this term talking about him. He's a leader of the DA. He's got the right to say whatever he wants to say about the ANC. I can't all the time and the ANC respond to George. He's a leader of the DA. He's got the right to say they want to finish off the ANC. Zille said it 20 times. Don't you think that the DA want to finish the ANC? They do. They want to be next government, and they've been failing for 30 years to become the next government, and they are not growing either. So they want to grow out of everything they see as an opportunity. But we are resilient. But it's a democracy. As a leader of the DA, he's got the views that he has expressed and all of that, and that is it. He's a leader of the DA elected. He's very new. He wants to be seen to be very, very clever and very, very militant and leading DA in a particular. Give him space. Give the man space. Not bells, but space. Don't give him bells, but space. He's expressing himself. Every leader of every political party, when they express themselves, you can't be running after them and responding to what they say. You must be asking him, what does he mean by that? And that is it. If the ANC wants to engage and I have the mandate to talk to the DA, I do. On matters of the GNU and all of that, I talk to the DA, I talk to everybody in our country. So we will continue to do that. But I don't direct the DA if they express views that are, that they express. Those are their views. Newsroom, effect to the composition of the committee. I don't think that the composition of the committee give effect to any other thing. It simply deals with what needs to happen post the court judgment. Phala Phala report, newsroom, you said, what is the end game? I don't know. Yes? No, the marching orders is exactly what I explained to you. Our members will participate, and I've summarized it with discipline and dignity and seriousness, every step of the way and constructively. That's what is the marching order. I hear that you said that we were telling people things in caucus. We're not telling them what has not been decided by the NEC. Those are the marching orders. That you participate, here is the process, that's where it is. And that is the marching orders. Now, this is Section 89 report, what you call Phala Phala. Section 89 report, it will be tabled and we'll deal with it in terms of the processes that need to be followed in terms of the legislature. ENCA, I think most of you have raised this question, not all, but it borders on ignorance and not following. And respectfully, I say this, because President Ramaphosa, after the Section 89 report, Judge Sandile was tabled, took the matter on review. direct to the Constitutional Court, not using Stalingrad. Direct. And the Constitutional Court said, no, go back. Because by that time, Parliament had taken a majority decision, which is what you know. And therefore, he said, based on legal advice, it rendered the review at that time moot. Because the matter in terms of Parliament, through the ANC majority, was basically set aside in terms of the vote. Now, you keep peddling this thing that President did not. Go check the facts. He did. And he went to the Constitutional Court. The Constitutional Court itself ruled on that matter and said this thing belonged to the legislature. Go there. The papers were filed, done and dusted. And then the matter was rendered moot in terms of the language of the law. If I'm wrong, you can call me at 12 o'clock at night. That what SG of the ANC is saying is misleading the public. That did not happen. I am saying this is what happened. But you keep saying that the president is coming back now because he's been held accountable. Incorrect. The matter is taken to court by the EFF. Parliament is ordered by the Constitutional Court in terms of the judgment to start the process in the 7th administration. Those processes have been followed. The report will be given to the president and tabled in Parliament and all of that, and the president have told you in public and taken the nation in confidence. I hear people say the president should have taken the nation in confidence. I realize they are now running out of ideas. The president have taken the nation in confidence as their president, employed by them, that I'm going to review this report. He can't just stay in office and it is ordinary. Every time he goes left, he's asked, what are you going to do? He's employed by South Africans. He has told South Africans through a family meeting that he's going to take the matter on review. There is nobody who have said legally that is not permissible. And there is nobody who have argued today that President has broken the oath of office by taking the report on review. When the Constitutional Court in itself have not ruled on the merits of the case. Now, just for record, President did take the matter on review. He did. And that's what has happened. Foreign currency stashed. We want us now to debate the merits. But let's explain this case. By now, there's a number of things that have happened since this matter was reported. The Hawks, where the matter was reported, was taken on board, the Public Protector, the Financial Intelligence Center, the Reserve Bank, SARS. Now, they've not said that anyone has got a case to answer in relation to that. And two, these dollars you are talking about were found in a farm of the president. Whether they were in couches or wherever they were found, there was a break-in the farm of the president, and to that extent, there is a case in court in terms of the break-in. That's what has happened. So the onus is on the owner of the dollars to explain. And if he's on the wrong side of the law, then that will be it. And the president have said that I'm subjecting myself. And there was a break-in at the farm of the president. It's not like dollars were found in the boot. They were found in a farm called Phala Phala. That's what was being investigated And now people then say, no, all sorts of things and so on and so on. What should this and that should have actually happened? The only source of engagement in relation to this issue is the institutions we have created to probe all of these particular questions. Now, these matters have been ventilated there. Now, is this compatible with ANC values? ANC values do not say people must steal. Has the president stolen? He didn't steal, they stole from him. Has he stolen something? And so on, has he broken the law and all of that? That is the matter that must be probed, and it has been probed thus far. And I don't want to delve into the details of that. And you know what is the outcome of that process. Kasi FM, your comparison with Tavern.
Kasi BC Africa, not FM. They're illegal, it's two different entities.
Oh,
Kasi BC Africa.
you change every day. Okay.
Kasi BC Africa.
Okay, Kasi BC Africa. Okay. Kasi BC Africa. I'm not aware of this Tavern guy, but if anybody, yes, it's an example that that does not exist. Even the Tavern guy, if he's arrested, among others, and so on, is found to be on the wrong side of the law, the ANC will do what is right, which is what we have done with all our members. The law must take its course. And that's what is important. Feriel is going to be a tough campaign like all. I don't know whether we'll be conducting the campaign with the impeachment trial in place. I don't know. That stands to be seen. But it's going to be a tough campaign in any event. And we believe that our president is an asset in terms of leading that campaign of the ANC. And we are confident of victory. If you see now, in the Northern Cape, we have done very well this past week in the by-elections. We won a by-election in Northern Cape and increased our numbers, and we outclassed the DA. So we've been working very hard in the strongholds of our opponents. Of course, there are areas where we are weak. Our main concern is that we need to win big in our constituencies, and not with small margins, 2,000. In the election campaign, it will be totally different, because a ward or a VD, you've got to win it with 15,000, 20,000, 30,000 in order to balance the PR. So that is what is important for us. When it comes to all these challenges we'll be faced with, it's interesting, that the ANC, in terms of its track record of fighting corruption in the country, including under Ramaphosa, speak for itself. And a number of interventions have been made. A number of commission and laws have been passed. And now we're focused on strengthening the capacity of the state. SIU, you can mention. Judge Nugent, when it comes to SARS, dealing with matters in that regard. The PRECA Act, which has actually been passed to deal with matters. Now, anyone who aspires corruption will not do those things. And there's a catalog of these interventions that have been made, up to Zondo and now Madlanga Commission. When President established Madlanga, critics were all over. Yeah, yes, another commission. But they are not talking now when Madlanga is investigating and biting. People have been arrested. And you can see these arrests are not frivolous. They are based on substance. Work is being done to clean the system. And otherwise, we would have just said that time, deal with allegations by removing people and don't investigate. It's like, plastering a sore point and then you don't clean it. And then you just plaster it, it keep coming back. What the president have done was to get to the sore, clean it, and through the Madlanga Commission is doing exactly that. Corruption alleged in the police, we have known about that. I led the police in this country. I know and I see some of the things that are happening. And I know them. And I know we're working very hard to clean those things. So when I see Madlanga Commission and we see it the way we see it, and doing the work that we have promised to South Africans, it's heartwarming. South Africans are very happy. They don't want this thing of criminals flaunting wealth that is unaccounted for. Something has been done about it. It's been done. These questionable characters, you see them very rich overnight. And therefore, now Madlanga have shown us that, no, these people steal. And work is being done. It's not easy to deal with organized crime. And when organized crime is led by suspect criminals who masquerade as cops. When we adopted the National Crime Prevention Strategy in 1996, we dealt in detail with how we deal with organized crime. It's not easy to arrest if you don't have tools and they're supported by the law to deal with organized crime. Now you find a fellow who's busy with organized crime is implicated to having arrangements with crooks. There's no way you can catch these people, and so on. We support everyone who does business legit, including tenders, but we won't support corruption. And that is why we tighten the laws to deal with that, to deal with those particular matters. Mangaung conference is supposed to take place. It will take place. There's no money issues there. It's just mismanagement of the conference. It is ready and it should be concluded. If it is not concluded now, it will have to take place after the election. We are left with two conferences. It is West Rand. That must take place this coming week. We have had to deal with litigation processes there and many other things. And Mangaung, that's all. And Eastern Cape Provincial Conference. So those are the only conferences. All the work is on deck now. Preparing structures, selection process, and so on. We are selecting candidates left, right, to the center. The process of selecting mayors has begun. And like we promised you, by June, we'll do that. July, we will launch our campaign, election campaign. But the work to prepare for the elections has begun across the length and breadth of the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, SG. There is an appetite for a second segment of this discussion. So I'm going to go, I think that's a follow-up. Yes? Is that a follow-up? If you can proceed. Try and raise your voice for benefit.
Good morning, I hope you can hear me. SG, maybe I should be more pointed with my question in terms of marching orders. Was there a decision in the NEC that what comes out of in the impeachment committee and the establishment of the impeachment committee that MPs must toe the line? That is my question. I also would like to know, in terms of, I know we already touched on the MP Dolashe, but I'd like to know, I think there was a disciplinary process that was taking place, or inquiry that was taking place within the ANC. I'd like to know what the outcome of that process was or is, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me just take the brother next to you.
Sure. Muluku Mloto again from ENCA. Just two.
Oh, Muluku, sorry.
Oh, sure. Quick questions. The former speaker, Nosiviwe Mapisa Ngakula, has essentially said the manner in which the ANC handled this matter by voting against the establishment or referring that report to the impeachment committee was wrong, and that she feels like hiding her head in shame. Do you share that sentiment as the ANC, given the fact that we've been here before? We know how the Nkandla matter was dealt with. Secondly, and lastly, on the issue of the president having approached the Constitutional Court before to review this, the Constitutional Court did say that it doesn't have exclusive jurisdiction, but it did not say he must go back to Parliament. In other words, he had the alternative or recourse of going to the High Court to say, even after Parliament has voted against the report, I want to clean my name. And it is on that basis that I'm saying it took about 4 years for him to now institute what he ought to have done back in 2022. That is where I'm asking to say, do you see nothing wrong as the ANC to say, when you had an opportunity, you didn't use it, you're only using it now that processes are getting into place again?
All right, thank you. ENCA, is there a hand, another hand there at the back? No. Okay, I then come down. Back to Kasi. I don't want to get it wrong, so I'll just say Kasi.
Shannon Merrick's Kasi BC Africa,
Kasi
a member
BC
in good
Africa.
standing of the Press Council of South Africa. Thank you. Chairperson, you blue-ticked my questions. Let me repeat them directly. One, the President, as we're sitting here today, while you're doing the press briefing, has not filed any court papers. So the ANC, NEC, and the top 6, excluding the President, had a meeting without any valid court papers being filed. So if the President don't file that papers in the next 90 days or 12 months, the issue is moot. He never filed the papers. Second point, the public protector. I think I don't have to repeat that one. But the public protector basically is telling us, as the public, as the media, she can't be criticized. She's the Queen of England. Nobody must say anything about her, and she's a public official. I just want to add one more thing. Now that you talked of your police minister and so on, now the Madlanga Commission is busy with the final report. Let's say in that report, hypothetically speaking, the President will then fire the previous minister, Senzo Mkhunu, and then the acting minister gets replaced by somebody else. Are you available to be the next police minister? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
A new question from
Sorry for the laughter. I'm not diminishing the question. Just unexpected. News 24.
Mr. Mbalula, we want to know, we know that the PECs and the RECs have to, or have been given the choice to bring about a pool of 20 mayoral candidates in the municipal elections. So now we are 6 months away from the elections, and we want to know if the ANC can give us an update on that process. And recently the ANC also said that it would be headhunting mayoral candidates. Want to know if any candidates have been interviewed so far, and if so, how many?
Thank you. Let me take you at the back. Yes.
Good morning, Zara Groenewald, SABC News. This is just a clarification question on my side regarding the Dolashe matter. Am I right in my understanding that the ANC is still awaiting that brief from the president on his decision to remove her? And following that, the ANC will then, due process will then follow. Does the ANC have a timeline on how soon they would want to wrap that up, as this is probably a major issue of concern for the party? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I then move on. The last hand.
Breiten here from Netwerk 24 again. SG, I spoke to the presidency, I think it was a week ago. They confirmed that the president and the former president, Jacob Zuma, they had a meeting, or they are going to have a meeting at Nkandla. Do you know anything about this meeting? Because it seems like it's a very secretive operation around that meeting. I just want to know what's the details being discussed there. The presidency said it's both political, and the engagement is also going to touch on matters relating to the country. That's all they said. Do you know anything about this? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, SG.
Thank you very much, newsroom. No, we don't say MPs must toe the line. We brief them about the party position. And that's what is important. And the party position is exactly what I've explained to you now. And this is what was explained to the MPs of the ANC in caucus. And therefore, this is what must be executed, which is lawful. Which is lawful. And there's nothing that we said here to you. If you so believe that what we said is on the wrong side of the law, and we briefed our MPs to basically disregard the law and do wrong things, let's argue about that. This is the line of the ANC in relation to the court judgment. All parties exercise that. There is no party that does not have the line to its public representatives. So it can be different to the African National Congress. And what we have outlined here is what we have outlined to our MPs. Sisisi Tolashe process in the ANC, she has appeared before the Integrity Commission. That work is not finalized. I don't have a report from the Integrity Commission that has finalized the work. I've checked with Reverend Frank Chikani. He said to me they are not done. So I've seen speculations here being made about the Integrity Commission and what it has decided. It is not decided. Sisisi has appeared, Umam Sisisi have appeared before the Integrity Commission, and once they are done, they will give us that report. In the NEC meeting, I've got about 4 to 5 Integrity Commission reports before me now that I will table before the officials, and the Integrity Commission will present those reports to the NEC. Integrity matters are part of the standard ANC agenda in every meeting. CCC is not on the agenda. That matter is still before them. They are dealing with it. So I hope it clarifies everybody in relation to that matter. ENCA, the speaker, you were asking about the speaker.
Former speaker.
Comrade Mapisa Ngakula is a leader of long-standing in the ANC and a former speaker and a former minister of defense. She is entitled to express her reflections on her own conduct and the conduct of her caucus at that time. I'm not going to enter into personal exchanges. with a leader of this movement through the media. Rather, what I will say is this, among others. Parties are allowed to call for a 3-line whip and are authorized a 3-line whip that is public information. We sympathize with the personal difficulties that the former speaker is going through. Now is not the time to deal with matters publicly. The Office of the Secretary General is not in the practice of confirming or denying every reflection a comrade may share on a podcast. Because our teachings in the organization, you don't jump with the rest and express your opinion. You approach the organization. That's what a principled leader does. Well, this behavior has become very much common these days. We don't know whether it's because of the gap of leadership track record, that those who came before us think that they can say anything, anyhow, anytime, to the total disregard of the party. Umamno's viewer has never called me as the SG of the ANC, post the judgment and expressed the views that she has expressed, which she's entitled to in this particular instance, which is very much unfortunate. You are again harping on this question. The president, in his presentation in public, again, he explained the Constitutional Court decided in the manner in which it decided. The president did file for a review. The legal counsel advised that the matter is moot because the National Assembly did listen and took the decision that it did. And in this particular instance, the matter was moot because the National Assembly had decided on the matter, which is a fact. Now, we can't say that the president was running away from accountability. Running away from accountability would have meant that he would not have wanted to do this thing expeditiously in the manner in which he did by approaching the apex court on the matter. He would have gone in the normal way of doing things, a high court and so on and so on. But he approached the Constitutional Court directly. And if you listen to legal advice and counsel, you act accordingly. And in this particular instance, I think for those who practice law will agree that indeed that matter was moot at that moment, up until today. So let us not harp on the untruths that President made a pronouncement about taking the matters to court and it did not act. South Africans may not know, or they may not know, they may not be reminded. And we're reminding them that that commitment was fulfilled at that moment when the president had made that decision. At the time when the Section 89 report was filed before Cabinet. That is a fact. Court papers not filed. That's not a material thing. They can be filed even next week. The president have taken you in confidence and said that he's going to take it on review. Whether he does it this afternoon or tomorrow, but he has said that so that you are not perplexed tomorrow. If he did not address the nation as a sitting president and told them that I am deciding to take this matter on review and that is what I'm going to do, you were going to say that president is sitting in office, is not briefing the nation since the Concord judgment. The president felt obligated to brief the nation and to tell them what he's going to do in relation to the outcome of the court judgment, and he respected the outcome of that court judgment. He did not despise, denigrate, undermine the courts, even though the courts were not about him. They were about the process in Parliament. But the head of the president is being called that he must resign on a matter that was not about him in the Constitutional Court, but was about the parliamentary process in relation to the Section 89 report. Not even the merits of it, of which the president have outlined that he intends to challenge those reports on the grounds that he have explained. Now, we have said that no, it is permissible in terms of the law, also in terms of the judgment. C.J. Meyer says in the judgment 139 that you can follow the pathway in this manner in relation to the review. And that is what we have endorsed. If the president had decided that no, or the ANC take a decision that don't do that, we will then be circumventing things in this particular instance. PP statements, obviously the public protector is the public protector of the people. So he must listen to the people. So police minister, I take it in jest because I can't go back there. I suppose it was just said in jest. No, I can't go there. You can see I'm full-time here at Luthuli House. So we have very capable people who can do that job in government at the present moment. News 24, mayoral candidates, that process has begun. When we have reached its conclusion, we will announce our candidates. That's the decision we have taken. But we have gone public, we have invited, and we are receiving a lot of feedback in terms of mayoral candidates. So for us, if you are a citizen of this country, you are ready to serve the people of South Africa, you are capable, you will be considered for a mayoral position by the ANC. We are doing the same even with councillors. You want to serve the people of South Africa, and the people want you to serve them, and you've got capabilities, you will serve. The ANC has always been doing that. We have selected councillors through community public participation, and we are continuing to do that. Even the mayoral candidates, which will be interviewed, shortlisted by the officials, we are doing the same. The deadlines, just to bring you up to speed, the shortlisting is coming to an end now. So we are interviewing mayoral candidates for the metros and the secondary cities in the country. So that process now is going to begin, where the top 7 is going to interview, and then by June, we will announce our candidates. I've answered the issue of CCC. The process is Integrity Commission. The Integrity Commission is seized with the matter. The report is not final. When the report is final, it will be given to the SG. Like all other reports, the SG will table the report to the National Executive Committee to deliberate on it and take a decision about what must happen in terms of their recommendations. Meeting with Zuma and President, I'm not aware of it. But all of those things do happen in politics. Whether they are underground or by phone, they do happen. It will not be strange if they meet. I saw them hugging there in Swaziland. It was nice. So if leaders meet and they've agreed to meet, they can meet. If there's a need for us to be briefed about their discussions, we will be briefed. If there's a need for us to execute anything from those discussions, we will deliberate and execute. So when I meet with DA, EFF people and everyone else, it's normal in politics. I am the center of the ANC. by virtue of the SG. So I heard George Hill saying that ANC people are speaking to him. He can speak to everyone. As long as it's not me, it's not ANC. So he must not go around and say ANC is asking me this. It will only be me or anyone mandated by me that go and talk to the DA. As long as it is not sanctioned, if you meet in a beer hall, in a soccer match, I might meet Helen Zille at a Pirates match this weekend. So it doesn't mean anything, which I don't believe she's our supporter, but it's okay. So we will meet at the match. It will be nice to meet with Zille at the Pirates match. So there are channels of political parties, engagement, and so on. So that is why when you meet with person of the DA or anybody approaching you, you ask first, what mandate are you carrying? Then he will say, SG have asked me to talk to you. And then that is it. No, I just want us to have an informal discussion. Coffee, beer, wine, or whiskey. Or let's just talk about the future of South Africa. Politicians are civilized. And then it's normal. Just like you, if you can ask me now, SG, I want to have a one-on-one with you. People won't ask me, what were you doing with Netwerk? I want to understand you better, because in a press conference I didn't hear you properly. If I have time, we will sit and talk. It's normal. That's how we need to drive things. It happens like that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, colleagues, for your presence.